When Celtic missed out on 10 in a row last season, some felt that the club would fall to pieces. Predictions of 25 and 30,000 season tickets being sold, I think one man even said would fold like a pack of cards. Well, the reality is actually very different. As we sit here on July the 1st, ahead of the Ange Postecoglou reign, it seems that the Celtic support have once again lived up to their billing as the best fans in Scotland. We have sold more season tickets than any other Scottish club once again. Isn't that just brilliant? Can tell this video is going to get a lot of bites. I'm loving it already. Right, Don McKay, who started today, July the 1st, this was his inauguration. I don't really know if they do the same kind of thing they do in the States, but he's basically his own man now. Peter Law is no more. It's the Dom McKay time at Celtic, and he started his time at Celtic by sending out a message to the season ticket holders. Now, I think this went out about 9:30 this morning. Since then, maybe an hour later, Celtic have actually posted the message statement on the club's website so that all the fans can see, and it's good news. I'll read you out some of what Don McKay said. Not all of it, but this is the main points he made. He says, "We have recorded a fantastic level of interest in our season ticket renewals, and yet again we have the highest number of season ticket holders in the country backing the team for the season ahead, a phenomenal figure which is quickly approaching sellout. Last Friday saw the most season tickets ever sold by the club in one day in our entire history. We are all very much looking forward to welcoming our season ticket holders back to Celtic Park very soon, and I'm encouraged by the recent government guidance that indicates a possible return of fans to football in the coming few weeks. We will of course keep you updated as we get information from the government and relevant authorities. The positive impact of having our supporters back at Celtic Park cannot be underestimated as we look to a new era, with our focus firmly set on a return to winning ways." So a couple of big statements in there from Dominic McKay. We're still getting to know him, but one thing we've learned already is that he will not shy away from some good PR. He will not shy away from talking things up, which is fair enough. By the way, yesterday we did do a video looking at all of Don McKay's promises he made in Friday's various press conferences, so check that out. I will link it above now. But yeah, the first big claim he made in that pretty decent message to, first of all, season ticket holders and then the wider Celtic support was that we have the highest number of season tickets in the country. Now, Celtic must be pretty confident of this if they've made that statement. I do not know exactly how many season tickets Rangers are able to sell. I'm told it's around about 48,000. So we can only assume that Celtic have shifted more than 48,000 season tickets, which is an incredible tally. Barely a month ago, we had people suggesting that Celtic would shift 35,000 season tickets, given the feeling of mistrust towards the Celtic board that still exists, and also the fact that our manager wasn't Eddie Howe. The fact that we'd spent so long going after him and he was the only viable option, and then it wasn't Eddie Howe. We were in a bad place. Barely, I think 3 or 4 weeks have passed and things look a lot better, and so much of it is down to the Celtic support, as I say, once again proving themselves as just brilliant and unwavering in their following of Celtic. The other big statement Don McKay made, which is quite a kind of remarkable one, I think, is that Celtic shifted more season tickets on Friday than any other day in the club's history. Now, I realise a lot of that may have been because the existing season ticket holders would have been holding off to the last minute, making Celtic sweat in this game of chicken between the club and the support. I realise that a lot of people renewed last minute on Friday, but still, it's a huge total. Celtic, I think, are going to sell out season tickets again. When you factor in that there are thousands on the waiting list, I think they're getting offered a week on Friday, maybe. You assume that a lot of those waiting list people would take up the option of a season ticket. And if Celtic are already at, say, 48,000, say even 47,000, then to get up to the magic number of sold out season tickets, which I think is around 51 or 52, you would certainly expect them to be able to do that. It's a remarkable total. Obviously, the big factor that has probably swung it for a lot of people away from Celtic is the fact that the pandemic seems to be coming to a close, and we should be able to get back to doing the things that we took for granted in what now seems like a previous life. We're hoping that Celtic will be able to welcome back fans for the next home match. We're hoping the days of closed door matches at Celtic Park are over. And even more so than that, and I'm kind of surprised I'm even saying this, we're actually quite hopeful, it seems, of Celtic Park being full again in the very near future. Now, I touched on this on yesterday's video. Professor Jason Leach was on, I think, a BBC Radio Scotland show on Sunday morning, and he was just outlining the hopes of the Scottish Government that basically most, if not all, restrictions could be lifted by August the 10th. Now, this obviously comes with the usual caveats of cases not rising and all the other stuff the government will take into account before they make any big decision. But it seems like with vaccinations continually increasing, that they are hopeful that we can go back to some sort of normality very soon, and Celtic Park could be full again from August the 10th. Now, I think we played Dundee at home a few days prior to that. Obviously, doesn't look like Celtic Park will be full for that one. The best we could hope for is maybe some sort of a trial event that could get 15 or 20,000 into the ground. Our following domestic home match after that, I believe, is St Mirren, 21st of August, I think. That could be the first time that Celtic Park is full again. And that would be pretty mega, considering that the last time it was full, St Mirren were also the visitors away back in March of 2020. That could be a pretty fitting day to have it back packed to capacity. Obviously, there's European qualifiers in there as well, so it may turn out that one of those matches is the first one when Celtic Park is full again. But what I'm getting at is that there's a real positive vibe, and I have no doubt that a lot of Celtic season ticket holders would have wanted to renew because they've missed last season so much. So that's all well and good. It genuinely seems like there's a bit of positivity returning to Celtic. But how does Celtic continue this positivity? And more importantly, how do they repay the unwavering support that the fans have shown them in season ticket sales once again? For me, the main thing right now, more than anything else, is getting players in. We are, 3 weeks away, less than 3 weeks away from our first Champions League qualifier against FC Midtjylland, and we could barely field an 11-a-side team at the moment. I have no doubt that Celtic are working hard in the background, and probably have been working hard in the background over the last number of weeks to get players in. But obviously we haven't announced anyone yet, and other than Mario Vuskovic, who we touched on earlier in the week, it doesn't really seem like anyone else is massively close. Now, of course, we've had left field signings in the past. We may have the same again. But Celtic really need to press on with that. That is the main frustration I think that fans are feeling at the moment. Even more so than the backroom team of Postecoglou being Strachan and Kennedy, and even more so than the sporting director. I kind of feel, as important as those two issues are, that they are on the back burner in comparison to just getting players in. We spoke so highly of Dom McKay and Ange Postecoglou on Friday. They both spoke really well, but the way they will be judged is on what happens. And it's one thing saying we're working really hard and signings are imminent. You know, we heard that from Neil Lennon and Peter Law in the past. We need players in, and they need to come in very soon. Celtic go to Wales in a matter of days. I think our first game over in Wales against Sheffield Wednesday in 6 days' time. I think it's the 7th of July. That is the start of our season. Going to Wales and playing these matches is very much when things will kick into gear. And at that stage, you're only 2 weeks ahead of a Champions League qualifier. We need players in before we go to Wales. And as I say, that is a matter of days away. The support have backed the club massively here, and that is great for all parties. It's great for the fans because we get back to the games. It's great for the club because they can rely on the support of the fans, both in terms of in the stadium and the financial package that comes with that. But the one thing it means now is that the club don't have any excuses. The support have backed the club once again, and they need to get this right. There's a huge season ahead, and despite us finishing so far behind last season, having such a horrendous season, fans will expect much more this season. There'll be no caveats, no excuses accepted by the support when we have plunged in all this money to the club once again. So it's time to get going, Celtic. We really need a bit of progress on the signing front. We need to really see how this Ange Postecoglou team is going to take shape, because, as I say, we are not far away from the start of this season. Our domestic campaign will get underway this month against Hearts at Tynecastle. It's all heating up. Well done to the support. It's time to go, Celtic.